Soundbite, an audio collection of short readings. Volume 1, Fall 2018.
Regret by Danica. I caught a fish so big I had to slit its belly, pull out its guts, and wear it home as a hat. My hands were full carrying rod and tackle, and it wouldn't fit in the bucket. It started to rain, but the scales were waterproof. The storm kicked up fierce, so I stretched the skin over my shoulders and back, climbed all the way inside, stayed there for 8 hours, lit a tiny fire on the ground and cooked a bit of the tail. Wouldn't have no worry about the bones. I washed and washed and washed. Couldn't get the scent out of my hair. I tried a tin of ketchup, heard the farmer say, bathe your dog in tomato paste if he's sprayed by a skunk. Leave him outside for a few days. Maybe the ketchup had too much sugar. If I stood by a deep fryer for a few minutes, I'd smell like a Friday night church supper. I tried perfume. A bottle my mother kept under the bathroom sink. A bottle my grandmother had kept for special occasions, like funerals and chili cook-offs. I used too much, left a wake behind of watering eyes and wilting violets. I spent hours in the tub, changing the water every 10 minutes, until my first layer of skin scraped away, and the rest was wrinkled raisin tight. I pulled a jar of emergency prune juice from the fridge, dumped it over myself, booked an appointment to have my hair shaved, but at the salon door, the receptionist nodded no and pushed me back outside. I knelt down and prayed for more rain to escape my new name, Fish Head Girl.
Neil Surkan's
A Walk. The red straw with pelican scoop for solids, the hubcap jarred loose and gleaming, the uncapped syringe, the knitting needle, the mural improved by graffiti, the shy-used condom squished through a grate, the survey tape wound round a branch, the bird guano on dented eaves, cans of diet dye and sweetener, leather glove, spiked dog collar, crispers bits shark-finned on ants, noisy wrappers, bobby pin, mysterious briefs, pebble of gum, all tumble inside me on my walk to solo liquor, where I hold a plastic 40 of sourpuss, equal parts booze, antifreeze, and remember my friend at 14, tilting the smudged bottle skyward. Once finished, he breaks his hip by botching a flip off an ornamental boulder, the interlock a rug of greasy caterpillars whose murky tent fogs the poplars trickling overhead like keys. All that memory sheathed in a bottle of bright green juice with cartoon decal. How we are vulnerable.
Aliens in the Whole Earth by Anastasia Jill.
Crimson carmine girl, why her hair so green? What magic makes them eyes shine so brown? She pressed a needle to her lips and it bleeds on down her chin like it's dribble. It's on her fingers, on her shirt, but to her the blood is sunshine. On her planet, the body is the most beautiful god. They bleach their ribs to stay atom fresh and shave their fingertips like hair to make room for Eve. They hate apples and love pears, wear snakes like jewelry and act like every day is early Halloween. She's blonde, naturally, with eyes like a twinkle sky, but she had to come to Earth to learn to be the same as everybody else. Apparently, she's a rebel. She is happy here, festering in her blood. I will conquer the whole Earth to keep her in paradise.
Erin Emily Ann Vance's
Awake in Roscommon. The black socks on our 2 right feet are damp with dew. We talk in the night with our wet toes, with the low moon. Our earlobes quiver with the strange words of small ponds We trip on the cobbles, arms heavy with touch, what's gone. The quiet limbs of the elms reach into the homes we pass, and with a spiral of pollen like saliva on your cheek, we dance pirouettes with half limbs on the chests of our sleeping lovers, and dig for worms in the papery wonder of dead leaves. We bathe in muddy water under the ink-strewn sky, with our black toes suctioned to our feet. We gasp in the cold, bite at the current and at each other. Your teeth are marble imprints on my blue thighs. Our lovers sleep on as we splash and cry. We must stay afloat in this shallow bath. The goldfish nip at our black toes.
Allison Iriye's
Can You See Me? Glances given in rapid succession by darting eyes afraid of confrontation, despite their wish for nothing but acknowledgement. Tensions build insurmountably with clenched fists and chapped lips. Failure stems not from a strategic smile, nor an inviting crook of my finger, but from the fact that I'm devilishly good at hiding in plain sight. You shouldn't have seen me, but here we are.
Unchained Melody by Zelda Baiano. I got your message out of nowhere, saying that you're going nowhere, asking if I would like to do the same. My lashes dressed in black, in my dress with a low open back. I laughed as I held your gaze. You still wore sterling glasses and the color of your eyes hadn't changed. That night we drove to the falls, but I was the only thing to fall, if it was possible to fall again. Wind on my fingertips, root beer on both our lips. I guess I'm still hung up on that old summer rain. You learn a lot about love falling out of it, but I am still so stupid.
Conium Dreams by Dorota Renée.
White stardust, black magic. You haven't slept in 7 years. I saw them once. Emerald eyes. The death of a woman from a foreign land I belong to. Do you believe in past lives? I've been here 1,000 times, darling, so this time around, just be nice to me. Talk softly. Tell me I'm pretty, and that I write beautiful prose. It's the hallucinations. Their buzzing heat comes and goes. I've been casting spells and murmuring incantations in mirrors of tile-walled bathrooms, reading oracles and burning sage, lavender, rose petals. Death to desire, they've taken over my mind. The voices, I once thought they were my own, though they're not yours either. Don't you think I'm funny, honey? Light a candle, mass for me, please.
'05-02-18 and '09-13-17 by Lissa McFarland.
When I was a child, flowers bloomed in the garden in front of our little blue house. I sit in the dirt with my mom, sifting soil with my chubby fingers as she piles weeds beside me. She points out flowers, the lilies and the small rose bush, wildflowers and daisies, and the bleeding hearts. I was a child, and the flowers grew towards my mom, as if she were the sun. On autumn mornings, I rake up my thoughts with the dead leaves on my front lawn. Everything I know to be fake, brown everything I'm unsure of. Yellow. Leaving me with my edges curled and trembling in the wind.
Lip Manegio's
Survival of the Tomboy, after Ivan Coyote. The tomboy woke up today. The tomboy pulled on ripped jeans and a plain t-shirt and combed back their hair. The tomboy pulled on a binder and knew exactly what they still were. The tomboy has known exactly what they are since 4th grade, 2 short bowl cuts and gap-toothed smiles. The tomboy was once the flower girl. The tomboy was also once the ring bearer. The tomboy has always taken as much as they can bear. The tomboy has cried in so many dressing rooms, you could create a gallery of all the reflections they have tried to see themselves in. The tomboy is still breathing. The tomboy buys button-down shirts in all their own mirrors now. The tomboy ran a bike into a truck one summer and hasn't stopped crashing into where they don't belong since. The tomboy's knuckles haven't been unscarred in so long, but they are here. They pulled on their pants today. They felt the sun today. They woke up today.
Excerpt from A Kid Called Chatter by Chris Kelly.
The kid's first memory is a jackrabbit, a white-furred female crawling under a wooden fence while he sat in the grass. Taller than the kid, she crept forward with her odd jackrabbit gait, a pause then tilt, a pause then tilt. Her forelegs failed and she collapsed between the kid's feet. Little more than a toddler, the kid had no concept of death, but he sensed a change. For the rest of his life, whenever his thoughts strayed too far into hope, he recalled how her muscles loosened under her skin. Unthinking at that age, unknowing, the kid pushed his fingers into the bunched fur at the base of the hare's neck. A shadow fell over him. The first human sound he heard was a gasp. Like all orphans, the kid suffered a moment in which he became aware he was unnatural. Whenever that hateful fact arose in his mind later, he returned to the shadow, the flurry of motion above him. The gasp, the single sound to which he attributed the title parent. He curled around the tone at night, stretching it into a full scene, a contested exchange of words in a nearby room. There was fear in the voice. He felt sure of that. On better nights, he didn't blame the voice. Fear is natural to life. How long, the kid asked himself, how long would anyone keep a baby that attracts dying jackrabbits? Occasionally, the yearning in his heart preceded a different animal. Several species entered the city, unmistakably headed towards one of the 3 orphanages that housed the kid. Many, growing lost, died on the way. The kid was always unsure if the corpses in the gutters were meant for him. Of the common species, the dried husks of squirrels and robins and crows, he found speculation pointless. When he came across a weasel, however, or a marten, or a tire-treaded falcon, he dared wonder. Was this further proof of his call? These animals didn't enter the city but to die. The dead, discovered in the streets, were barbs of failure. He wasn't sure if his presence comforted, but as he accepted his affliction, the kid felt glad for the animals that reached him. Once, when he was 8, a black bear died a half-mile away from his holy rules, the kid's last orphanage. One of the boys there, a gangly blonde named Sandy Bixby, claimed to have seen the creature collapse and mimicked the shake of its limbs and its labored breath. The sound replaced the parental gasp in the kid's night for months. He pictured the bear through its last paroxysm, or imagined what he could possibly do if the animal reached him. In this way, the jackrabbits were a balm for his fear. Whenever the kid felt an approaching animal, he was overcome with relief when it resolved itself into a pitiful, dying hare. This is how the kid came to love jackrabbits.
I Pause While You Breathe by Melinda Jane, the poet MJ.
"2005 Cabernet Sauvignon. 7 years you waited till this night. I warmly wash your glass, ready for you. Then I slip off your foil. I uncork you. I ease up. I decant you in warm, rich crystal glass. Then I pause while you breathe. I pour you, rocking movements I tilt towards you. I take in your aromas, I roll your red curves this way and that way. Then I pause while you breathe. It's time, my hands warm you, I feel your presence, and I swell you. Then I take my first sip of you. Then I pause while you breathe.
Nathan Dueck's
Kapowieeee! Yow! Klunk! Bangeth! Zok! Aye! Bangeth! Cracker sploosh! Zambuff! Zowie! Ow-am! Uglip! Zagrapram! Bonglip! Blurpow! Zoklunk! Bonklunk! Ow-wow-wacketh! Ow-wow-whameth! Ow-bonk! Blue blabonk, blue blabonk, buffo, fleur brrr, ouch, oucher, ouch, swoosh, blue rump, rip, thwack, zagra brrr, splat swish, zappeth, argus, ouch, is, douche, rack crunch, zwap, ba moof, curl up, move.
Contributors. Zelda Baiano is currently studying English literature and language at Brock University in Southern Ontario. She has been previously published in 2 anthologies, The Night's Voice and Fresh Ink 2016. Nathan Dueck's initials spell nerd. His parents tell him nobody used that word when he was born, but dictionaries say otherwise. His poetry collection, A Very Special Episode, is forthcoming. Allison Iriye is a recent University of Calgary graduate who writes about the people in and out of her life. She spends her time chasing various creative projects, baking for loved ones, and winding up in trouble. Melinda Jane, the poet MJ. Writer, spoken word artist with explorations in soundscapes, improv music, and the performing arts. Published poems in 30 West Publishing, The Mozzie, Rambutan, Backstory Journal, KNWG. Anastasia Jill, also known as Anna Keeler, is a queer poet and fiction writer living in the southern United States. She is a current editor for the Smerlit anthology. Her work has been published or is forthcoming with Poets.org, Lunch Ticket, 5 to 1, Ambit Magazine, Apt, Into the Void Magazine, Two River, and more. Chris Kelly's biographical statement is paltry, known to the editors, and currently beyond the reach of a copy and paste. Danica Laurer has been a storyteller in Saskatchewan for more than 20 years. She's been hit by lightning, a moose, a rogue semi-tire, vehicles, and the odd strange idea. Lip Manegio is a queer, trans, non-binary poet from Boston working towards a BFA in creative writing at Emerson College. Their work has appeared in or is forthcoming from Flypaper Magazine, Crab Fat Magazine, Freezer Ray Poetry, The Minnesota Review, and elsewhere. Lissa McFarland is usually a visual artist. She did the wonderful cover and logo for Anti-Lang No. 1. According to her Instagram profile, @lil.trashlord, she's a big gay from YYC, a sandwich connoisseur, sunshine personified, and a ramen enthusiast. Dorota Renée is a master's student at Concordia, a writer of poetry and fiction, and a lover of nostalgia, vintage film, and the occult. Neil Surkan's debut poetry collection, On High, is out this fall with McGill Queen's University Press. His chapbook, Supernatural, was published by Anstruther Press, March 2017. His most recent poems have appeared or are forthcoming in The Fiddlehead, Event, The Antigonish Review, Riddle Fence, CV2, Grain, Carousel, and Prairie Fire. He lives in Calgary. Erin Emily Ann Vance writes about history, folklore, and the body. Her debut novel will be released in 2019 from Stonehouse Publishing. Soundbite is edited by Allie McFarland and Jordan Bolay, with sound editing and mixing by Jordan Bolay. The Soundbite logo is designed and illustrated by Lissa McFarland. All readings are performed and recorded by the original authors. Soundbite, Volume 1, Fall 2018, is published by the Anti-Languorous Project on Treaty 6 land in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Good short writing. 3 words. Our mandate at the Anti-Languorous Project. The ALP is an online, open-access literary hub with a focus on concision and precision. Show, don't tell. Imply and implicate. Antithesize languorous language. All rights revert to the authors and artists upon publication. No portion of this volume may be reproduced without permission from the artists. The ALP is a federally registered and unfunded nonprofit organization. We invite you to follow us on social media, on our blog at antilang.ca, and to consider supporting us on Patreon or by donation. We hope you have enjoyed Soundbite, Volume 1.